Hello, welcome back to the James Ramblin' Reviews for yet another episode. And in today's episode, right, if you couldn't tell already, I actually have this Christmas attire going on where I've got this Santa hat thing going on here. I've got this Christmas attire going on, this Christmas jumper, because I'm going to be reviewing for you Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. So before I get into that, right, I'm going to provide that additional context that I usually do to these reviews where I'm going to give you an understanding of where I come from before I give you my thoughts on something, what the movie's about, what the show's about, whatever. So when it comes to Home Alone, right, I did a review last year of Home Alone 1. Not the most impressive, you can go and watch that, right? You're not going to beat around the bush with that stuff, right? I love the Home Alone movies, especially 1 and 2. Never ever watch the other 3, 6, whatever. Who cares about the others because it's simply milking it, right? So once you get outside of that, right, where I really like Home Alone as the first two movies especially, right? What is this movie, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, all about? So, if you couldn't tell already from the title of the film, right, like Kevin McAllister gets lost in New York because at the start of the film, right, him and his family are packing, they're going on this flight, right, they're going to New York, right, and then Kevin, he actually goes on the wrong flight, he ends up going somewhere else, and then little do we know that he goes to this hotel, ends up using his dad's credit card, he does all this stuff, right, there's all this stuff going on, and then his mum actually tries to find him again, but then we're in a different location here and stuff like that. So I won't. And then there's also the sticky bandits. They're called now because they aren't the wet bandits anymore. They're called the sticky bandits in this movie because there was this like a prison riot. So they managed to escape and stuff. So there's definitely that, right? There's definitely the plot going on there and what it's about. So how do I feel about this movie, right? So when it comes down to it, right, I think Home Alone 2, like Lost in New York, right? I think it's a very, very decent follow up to the original. For example, I will just say that by making this in New York a bigger city, a different location, it spices up the context that we're pitching this film in. There's also this addition that we've got the sticky bandit, the wet bandit, so we're not reusing the same joke as we did last time. There's a lot of things that stick to these bandits and it makes it more of an interesting angle. Another thing about the bandits is that they actually fight Kevin McAllister, right? They kind of get their own little revenge on him and they realise the tricks he's making and they're like, okay, I know what he's done here. We're going to just stop him and then find other ways to do it, right? Because there is points where one of the bandits, Marvin, right, he keeps falling and falling and falling, and then the bandit played by Joe Pesci, he doesn't fall, right, he dodges it, or he moves out of the way, and so he kind of outsmarts him and stuff like that. There's also this bird lady in the film who is actually kind of different to this old guy in the original movie, and I will say when it comes to the bird lady who has all these birds around and she ends up helping Kevin McAllister defeat the bad guys kind of thing. I don't think it was the best executed thing, right? I feel like in the first movie, the old guy that shoveled up the snow on the street, there was more build up with that, and there was more bits to it than just this lady that's homeless and is just trying to help out the kid and things of that nature. So there's definitely that, right? The movie's also 2 hours long, so the movie's a bit longer than the original. I wouldn't say the movie drags on, but it definitely has a lot more to it than the first film. So what would I give this movie out of 10? I would give the movie a 9 out of 10. I think the first movie nails its concept and pretty much nothing is wrong with it. But in this movie here, there's slight things I'm not really liking, like the bird lady thing. It wasn't as well executed as the first movie's whole thing with the old man, and I just think the acting the acting is amazing in this movie, right? The acting from the first movie just continues into the second movie. I think the addition of the hotel staff adds a new villainous aspect to this. Also, there's this like voice recorder that Kevin uses, right, which actually installs this kind of different angle we're going with. So, for example, right, he'd record something, he'd find this new way to reenact something, or especially when he was checking in at the hotel, right, he actually recorded the thing in a deep voice, right, and it made it so that it sounded like it was his dad doing this rather than Kevin McAllister. So there's these techniques in here that I really did appreciate. And the other thing about this movie is how they don't reuse that same video film tape with, "you filthy animal, keep your change," and all that kind of stuff. So it made it so that there was more interesting aspects to it. So it's not a perfect movie, but it's still a very, very classical film movie sort of thing that I would definitely go ahead and recommend to you. So if you're looking for any Christmas movies to watch this year, I definitely still recommend you watch Home Alone 1 and 2, despite the flaws I had with the second movie. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this review on the James Ramblin' Reviews, right? We won't be doing any more Christmas reviews. I thought I'd do this one and done thing, right? The one and done thing about how, like, the Home Alone franchise should have just been one or two movies. So I don't want to kind of make tons and tons of Christmas reviews, especially because I'm actually going to be doing an entire Christmas themed episode this year for the James Ryan Show. So we're going to go all out for that. So yeah, see you in another review. See you, bye. Merry Christmas and have a happy, happy, happy New Year. The James Ryan Reviews is out. Bye.